Greg Palast is joining us again. GregPalast.com is the website. He's an investigative journalist. The new book, of course, is called Vulture's Picnic. And Greg, first of all, congratulations on the book. It is fantastic. I looked at it over the weekend.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun writing it.
Yeah,
Fun
so I mean, I can't even imagine the action kind of begins with the Deepwater Horizon explosion in the Gulf of Mexico, and the story, which is written almost like a thriller, goes through a number of different places all over the world. And my number one question that I would love to hear from you is, in which of these places did you most worry about your personal safety and well-being?
Oh, New York, because Miss Badpenny has a terrible right hook. My chief investigatrix, and when she gets mad, it can be very violent, as you can see from the first chapter. So I do worry about that. But actually, when I was arrested in Azerbaijan by the very fashionable dictatorship there, yeah, it was a little bit worrisome, to say the least. But I figured that. By the way, for those listening who don't know where Azerbaijan is, in Vulture's Picnic, I'm investigating Deepwater Horizon by going to this nation that was pooped out by the Soviet Union when it collapsed, called Azerbaijan. It is on the Caspian Sea. You don't have to worry about it till the 82nd Airborne arrives there, and that's how we learn geography in America.
Yeah, so describe the arrest, though.
Yeah, well, I was so first of all, I'm in Vegas. And speaking to an attorney who represents rig workers, and this is on completely, it had nothing to do with Deepwater Horizon, because it was April 20th, Hitler's birthday, my ex-wife's birthday. Suddenly we see that he's grim, and he says, I just got a call from the Coast Guard that a rig, the Deepwater Horizon, where my clients were, had exploded, and there's a safety capsule floating in the Gulf. And he wanted the Coast Guard wanted permission to open it up because they thought that these guys were inside the safety capsule, which is in case there's a fire, they go inside it. That they were cooked alive, and they wanted to open it up, but they weren't in there. They were in fact, they were vaporized in the explosion. But I knew when I heard that it was BP that I don't think it's an accident. And so I set off. First of all, I immediately knew that the answers, that the documents I needed would be in Alaska. That's a different matter. That's a different chapter. But first I got a message saying, this is not the first time about the Deepwater Horizon. Click, I can't speak on these systems. It's from a ship floating in the Caspian Sea off Azerbaijan, so I fly there. And for BBC. If it were Anderson Cooper, of course, he wouldn't be able to get his makeup man over there, so forget it. But
you use a local makeup guy, right?
Yeah, the police, you'd be surprised what a good job they do on your face. So I take off for Azerbaijan. Not easy to get into, hard to get out of. And I take off across. I want to find out, was there really another blowout on another BP rig? So I go off to BP's terminal in this oily nation. And I get arrest stopped. I went off-road straight across the desert like Rommel. Didn't work out well for Rommel either. And we got arrested. Secret police, all the big shots from internal security in this nation. The torturers in chief show up, which kind of like a bit nerve-wracking. Why was I so honored? But they got a tip that I was looking out for what really happened with BP. It's an Islamic Republic. We call it the Islamic Republic of BP because they pray to British Petroleum 5 times a day. And I knew I was in a bit of trouble. So the first thing they did is say, give us your film in Azeri. But we knew exactly what they were saying. So, of course, we give them the film because you can't be impolite to heavily armed people with cattle prods.
And do you use any of these methods some people will use where, for example, they keep blank tapes in the camera and actually are taping to cards, and then you hand them the tape, but you've got all the footage? Do you use any of those methods?
We certainly do, and they know that too. So
all right.
Blank. What they didn't do is take my pen.
Right.
Yeah. Can you see it? I got one of these Austin Powers pens that Miss Badpenny, my chief investigatrix, had given me before I boarded for Baku, the capital.
It looks like a hell of a pen. But so what's the containment like?
Stuff on the I had this little Austin Powers pen camera, and I got all the material on the pen camera. So we brought out. In fact, if you go to vulturespicnic.org, you can actually see some of the film I took with the pen camera while under arrest, and to get it out of the country, which still wasn't so easy in the end, because also, I mean, you have to understand that the dictatorship is run by a guy by Baba, the grandpa. Everyone has to call him Baba, which means grandpa, or else if you don't call him Baba. And his wife is the sexiest Islamic woman on the planet. That's official. There was a vote, no kidding, on Esquire magazine, sexiest Islamic woman. She ought to be, because God knows how much they spent on surgery. According to State Department cables, she had so much surgery on her face that she is incapable of expression. Though I don't know what expression she would have, like what, compassion? I don't get it. So this is this miserable oil state, which basically was created by British Petroleum. But we came out with the evidence. There was another blowout, identical to the Deepwater Horizon situation, where it was British Petroleum, Transocean rig, and they're using crap cement, cheapo cement stuff that they used, made by Halliburton, which they used in the Gulf, which failed. Same thing. 2 years before the Deepwater Horizon, they covered it up. They covered it up by beatings, by bribery, by babes, all the B's in BP. So that's part of the investigation, is getting through this material and getting it out there, getting the inside stuff from witnesses who are scared to death, of course, just scared to death. And kind of for me, I know, look, I'm a reporter for BBC television. It's my being American. In the end, they're going to let me go, but they're going to pull out the fingernails of all the people I talked to. I was really scared to death, because I had on my little pen, I ripped out all the pages of my notebook which had any source information. But then, as I'm leaving the airport, there's like 4 checkpoints, and there's the X-ray machine. I stupidly throw I lose a James Bond award every week, by the way. I lose a James Bond award by throwing the pen in my amongst my underwear instead of just sticking it among other pens where it might not be noticed. So by separating, put it in among my clothes. So on an X-ray machine, it kind of like goes, and it looks like I've either a dildo or a gun silencer. So the guy finds it. I go, oh, shoot. I don't think I said shoot, but whatever it is in Azeri for, I'll be spending the next 6 months looking for diplomatic help. And in the end, though, and I was worried about my sources, but he said, I know, through a translator, someone who speaks English, he says, I know what this is, and they're going to get you at the next checkpoint.
No, it's incredible, and I recommend people look at the book. That's just one story. Also, there's questions of chewing whale meat, and there's just so much that people really need to look at. I wish we had more time, but we've been speaking with Greg Palast. The book is Vultures Picnic. Vulturespicnic.org is the website.